Hello and welcome, everyone. Today is Saturday, the 2nd of August, 2025. I'm your host, Jason Allen, and this is my weekly performance summary for the week ending today. Um, this week up to yesterday, quite an interesting week. Non farm payrolls, of course, out on Friday morning. Threw a monkey wrench in a lot of people's performance, from what I've been told. But actually, for me personally, it was the perfect setup week. So I want to go ahead and show you how well we did. And as always, want to remind you that there's no guarantee of performance anywhere. This is just how well I personally did. So let's take a look at the numbers. First of all, had 19 trades this week. This is considered a big week for me. Normally, I average around 10, 12 trades, maybe one or two more. 19 trades, that's trying to get positioned, is what that is. And consequently, because I was trying to get positioned on 19 trades, I lost money on 18 of them for a total pips lost of 692.9. So let's just call it 693. Long trades, short trades, only one winner for a total of 175 points. So my net gain for the week, net gain or loss on closed trades, about 518 pips. Now, it's important to note that I go by pips and not dollars or percentages, because what I'm hoping to communicate to you is that if you're using your tool set properly, then you're going to be in the market for those moves that work and reducing or controlling your downside risk a little better, so that the net is a gain of some amount, but we don't know what size positions you're trading. We don't know how big your equity is, your background, your experience, your style. Are you a day trader, a scalper, a position trader? So when I talk about the numbers, what I'm talking about here is pips. Doesn't matter what your performance is, or what your how do I say? I don't mean performance. I mean your strategy. Your goal is to take out more pips than you give back. That's the whole point. So I go by pips to make it easier for you guys to follow, really, instead of complicating the whole issue with, some strategy that you don't understand to begin with. All right, so anyway, and I'm holding open positions. Now I got position, I'm going to wait on these now. And for those of you that aren't familiar with my trading style, which you'll learn if you spend more time with me, I'm of the opinion that once I'm in position, the market's never going to trade that price again in my lifetime. So that means I'm going to hold this thing forever. I'm going to find a place to add to it forever. Now, obviously, that doesn't happen, as my money management and profit locks and all the rest are sooner or later, most of the time, you get some bounce or feedback, goes the other way, whatever. But the attitude is, once we're in position, we want to hold this as long as humanly possible. If that means today was the turn for the lifetime in the dollar, great. So here's the positions I'm holding. Long pounds from 131.68.7. Friday's close, slight lead, 108.5 points. Pounds, not doing as well as euro. Long euro from 114 and 12 roughly, and we're up about 175 on euro. I doubled up on a short for yen. I got my first short 73.7 and took another one at 73.9 on the 150 handle. We're at 147 and change. So I'm holding about 660 points open trade, 660 pips open trade gain in yen. And of course, Canada, a little disappointing. I don't know why I'm even holding it, really. Only 80-point gain on that one. But the total open trade equity is more than 1,000 pips. So if you look at the closed trades being a loss of 500 and change, open trade gain of 1,000 pips, our net equity growth is about 500 pips on the week, and that's pips. So multiply that times the strategy you're using, size of your account. That's how well you would do if you were using the protocols that we teach at net winning trader, or hopefully you would be somewhere close to that. So let's go ahead and have a look at what these look like in real time. Now this right here, this are pounds. And for those of you that are interested in learning more about my proprietary trade signals, that's what you see on the chart as the greens and reds. Not going to go into all the details on how this works because that's available on netwinningtrader.com. And if you want to use these for yourself, they're included in your subscription. So if you want to get a copy of netwinningtrader.com, you get these signals if you want them. And they can apply on any time frame and any strategy. So that's up to you. But right now, on the buy side, you can see where my losses came from. You know, we had a reason to buy early in the week. That didn't work. Again, Thursday, that didn't work. But Friday morning, I think this is really the important thing for you to understand. Look at when the signal came on relative to when the news came out. If you get positioned ahead of the news, you'd have been fine. The red signal, of course, is a sell, which would be along the downtrend. So if you're bearish, you had an opportunity to get positioned, but that really was taken away from you by the end of the day. So I don't know if that signal is. I think it's late, but that's me. So we're positioned long in pounds, and we're going to hold that for ever, if possible. A little bit better screen grab on euro. Here's our entry at 114 and change. On this particular chart, this is my study chart. And for those of you that know the difference, my execution platform is different than what I use to study the markets. On the execution platform, that often takes signals early. In other words, right down here, this little reversal pattern, this was a reversal pattern on my actual electronic assistant as well. So I got in actually early at 114.12 prior to the news coming out. And of course, we made new highs on a Friday, new highs for the day on the close on a Friday, eclipsing Wednesday's high print. That's typically a turn in the market. This is yen. And again, this is I love showing people this because when it works right, the price agnostic method is really quite successful. Here's your buy signals earlier in the week to get positioned for the move to the ultimate highs. This 150, 151 area is actually 12-week highs, I think. And you can see the reversal patterns are starting to show up. And you can see how I took losses here. We had, a pattern here, didn't work. Another one here didn't work. And then the final one happened late in the day on Thursday, and that's where I got positioned, and I held that one. And the news came out, and we're all clean and green. New lows on a Friday, new lows for the week on a Friday, below the opening range for Friday. That's a reversal week. So we're holding that short yen. That may be a big win this year. And Canada last, trending higher. Last week was some good buy signals. So this week was, you can see where I took losses. See, we had our H's for sells, just not working until we got to the final one. And again, this signal here on this chart is an actual execution on my trading platform, 38.75. That's where I got positioned, right here, right into the highs, actually. Now, bear in mind, it's important to know that the signal, when it works, often is that way. It's from the best point at that point. Leading up to that point, it's the same signal coming on that if it would have worked, it would have been a wonderful position. Like if this H right here worked, you can see where that would have been the high, for the week. Same thing here. The H was right at the same price point. If it would have worked, it would have been right from the high. Same thing, all of them are that way. So getting taken out to get perfectly positioned at some point later is part of the business. So if that is the case now, then maybe Canada will give us a little bit more next week. I don't know. And of course, you can see buy signals coming on. I think these are late buy signals for a lot of reasons. Simply put, they're down bars. Buy signals should be up bars. Down bars as a buy signal, not so good. I mean, it's a less probable play. And the fact that they're closing at low levels on the day after making a high print that was rejected, that's usually late, especially on a Friday. So I'm of the opinion these buy signals will be faded in the next week. So I'm going to hold the shorts. Now again, exit orders are working. Next week when you see closed trades, it'll probably reflect one or two of these or more. I don't know. We'll see. So closed trades, we've got a nice open trade gain, but if everything blows up on Monday or Tuesday, what I'm looking to do is keep around 1/3 to 1/2 of that. So maybe for a 2 week period of time, we got no gain or loss on equity. Whereas right now, we've got an open trade gain on equity. So if you're like most traders, since we don't know what's going to happen, your biggest concern is making sure not to give back your own money whenever possible. So that's the next thing. So on Monday, position will be what it is. If we get a follow through, we're setting up for an ad. So next week, when we talk on Saturday next week, what I'm expecting is that I'll show you where we're holding positions, where we added to it, how the ads went, and what our open trade gain is at that point, plus where the stops are to lock some of that gain. I'm hoping I don't have to tell you we got stopped out on Whipsaw, so we'll see. So it's going to be an interesting week next week. That being said, thank you for coming. I know you got better things to do than listen to me blab all day, so have at it. Enjoy your weekend. I'll be posting my performance for the week each and every Saturday. So if you consider yourself a serious trader looking for better tools, and you're seriously interested in learning how to use your tools more effectively, please consider me a friend in the business, and I hope you'll attend my performance wrap-ups regularly. I'm available every day through my exclusive social community that's designed just for traders. That's called the Market Mastery Meetup. Links for that are available on my website. It's yours free. If you want to take a look at it and subscribe, it will be yours free for a full year when you subscribe to a lifetime membership at my online educational library, which is netwinningtrader.com. That's I've been trading for 40 years now. So you take a lifetime of what I've learned, my experience, what works for me, why it works for me, all the psychology behind all that, the history, everything. You take my entire performance, everything I've done in my entire career, put it in one place, and make it available for you to use as a toolbox. That's what Net Winning Trader is. Now you take that, combine it with a whole year of working daily, regularly with like-minded people who will assist you, coach you, train you to use your skills your way with the tools that were known to work. If you can't take that kind of commitment, apply it to turn that switch from lose to win or from win to win, if you can't, maybe this isn't for you, but I think you've got a great head start by using those tools together. So that's why they're there. So that being said, please come back next week. Hopefully we'll see you in the Market Mastery Meetup. Looking forward to dealing a little more closely with you if you're interested. And in the meantime, hope you have a great rest of the weekend. Thanks for coming. See you next week.